is Chris Gould. I'm a 7-year senior here at St. Christopher's. I've spent just over half my academic career here, and over the course of that time, I've learned a lot from my experiences, and I'm thankful for everything the school's offered. But I am especially thankful for the teachers, who by far have left the greatest impact for me here, inside and out of the classroom. When I told my mom that I would be writing about my teachers for today, she responded, "It takes more than just giving an education to be a good teacher." I think that almost everyone here would agree that the faculty and staff at our school are phenomenal for many reasons. But most importantly, because they all care about us so much. Whether it's issues at home, on the field, the stage, on the mat, or in the pool, they care and want to support us. In the first 6 weeks of school, I was home alone because my grandfather was ill, and my parents, being the wonderful people they were helping out my grandmother on the farm. I think I maybe mentioned this to 2 or 3 teachers, but over the course of that period, maybe 10 or so had come to talk to me about it. They would stop me in the hall, call me into their office, and just ask, "How were things? How are you doing? Are you keeping up with your work?" That was a big one. I think Mr. Toon, at first, actually thought that I may have murdered my parents when I tried to explain that I couldn't get my driving form signed by them. Every teacher stopped me because they cared. Every teacher I've ever had has also been willing to spend extra time with me if I needed it. Whether my grades were poor, I didn't understand the material, something along those lines. In the math department alone, I remember sophomore year spending mornings with Mr. Chatomer going over geometry proofs. Junior year, I would spend my evenings sometimes with Mr. Rossetti going over rating values. And this year, with Mr. Carlson, I had been struggling with calculus, so I've started visiting him in the mornings. How I do in math aside, they did that because I cared. There are lots of places where you couldn't find that, but you get that here with almost every teacher. A lot of my free time is dedicated just to hanging out with teachers. This year, I spend almost daily my free period with Mrs. Ray and Mrs. Woodman. Typically, at first, I'll go into Mrs. Ray's room, talk about life, just what's going on, talk in bad French just to mess with her. Maybe make a couple jokes about her antics, the fact that she may or may not have a case of vodka behind her desk with all the students. Right after that, I would go and I would gossip with Mrs. Woodman, talk about, happenings at school, and she's basically became my shrink as I lay on her couch and talk about my life. There are a good handful of teachers that are more than just teachers, coaches, and mentors, but friends to not just me, but to the rest of the student body. It would be nearly impossible for me to pick a favorite teacher from St. Christopher's. Each one is incredible and brings something different to the community. Though one of the most memorable teachers for me will be Mr. Smith, our esteemed writer in residence and poet laureate of Virginia. Mr. Smith has taught me over the past 3 years, beginning with our extern trip to Rome, my sophomore year. His education of me would continue as I was one of his junior apes, or junior AP English students. And I would later take his creative writing extra. Now, I was not his best student. I did not do amazingly in his class. I did not take every opportunity to do better. Second period AP English seems to be a constant crucible. I went into that class always stressed about the possibility of a quiz or a class essay. I'm pretty sure I had a nightmare or two about scarlet letter chapter titles. But I would say that in all my life, I have never learned more about English than just life in general. Mr. Smith, as he put it, was the little t, the teacher, trying to act as a conduit to us students to get us to the big T, the truth. Just the other day in my current English class over at St. Catherine's, I saw a form-matching content example in a poem we were analyzing. It was a stretch at best, but after looking at it more, I decided it was a valid note to tell my teacher, and she loved it. I smiled to myself and thought, I Ron Smithed it. Remembering the times when I was taught by a man who my class showed to be Edgar Allan Poe reincarnate. Now, I know I've only talked about a handful of teachers, but I can honestly say that every teacher I've ever had in the end, has left a positive impact on me. I have so many fond memories about my teachers over the years, both some good and some bad, from my screaming match with Mr. Jatomer sophomore year, to explaining to Mr. Berg I was late because I wrecked the driver's ed car. From curling with Mr. Roy during an astronomy break, to question number 9 on Mr. Randolph's quizzes. The faculty and staff here at St. Christopher's are by far the greatest group of people I've ever known, and thank you for everything you have done for us students and this school.